It's been 60 years since 9 students were found dead in a remote area of Russia's Ural Mountains. The mystery around their deaths remains unsolved, but now Russian investigators have decided to reopen the case.
What happened to the 9 experienced hikers in the Ural Mountains?
Gruesome death of a hiking group in one of the most remote regions of the Urals, kept top secret by Soviet authorities for decades.
Their terrifying last moments remain one of the world's greatest unsolved mysteries.
This is the last photo taken by a group of experienced Russian hikers the night they disappeared in February 1959, here in the remote Ural Mountains in western Siberia.
Could it have been an avalanche, a tribe attack, or something far more chilling?
Advanced winter hiking trip, trekking hundreds of kilometers through frozen wilderness. The photo shows them digging a platform in deep snow to pitch their tent along the slope of Kolatsiako, which translates from the language of the indigenous people of the region, the Mansi, to Dead Mountain.
Stay tuned to find out. The journey begins in the winter of 1959. A group of 9 experienced hikers set out on an ambitious adventure to explore the Ural Mountains in Russia. The team consisted of both current and former students from the Ural Polytechnical Institute, all of them certified Grade 2 hikers. Completing this trip would elevate them to Grade 3, a prestigious level of hiking certification in the Soviet Union at the time. The team was fully prepared and confident in their skills. Their journey began on January 25th as they set off toward the village of Visay. They planned to take a short rest in the village before continuing on their trek. However, on January 27th, things took a turn. One of the hikers, Yuri, began to suffer from severe joint pain due to various health problems he had experienced throughout his life. Realizing he wouldn't be able to keep up with the group, Yudin made the difficult decision to turn back and head home. Unaware of the danger that was about to unfold, he said goodbye to the group and left. This departure left the group with just 9 hikers, 7 men and 2 women. They continued on, undeterred by Yudin's departure. The group was led by Igor Dyatlov, a well-respected and knowledgeable leader with years of experience in mountaineering. As the team moved forward, the weather worsened, causing them to lose their way and end up on a dangerous mountain slope known by the locals as Dead Mountain, or Goro Torton. It was now late in the evening, and with the weather worsening, Dyatlov made the decision to set up camp for the night. They set up their tent, hoping the weather would improve by morning. Unfortunately, none of them would survive the night. The discovery by the end of February, after no word came from the hikers, Yuri Yudin, the one who had turned back, became increasingly worried. He had expected a telegram from the group once they returned, but after weeks passed without any communication, Yudin reported the hikers as missing. A search party was quickly formed, and on February 26th, they began looking for the group. After several days of searching, the tent where the hikers had camped was finally discovered. The tent was found in a strange and unsettling condition. Cut open from the inside, it was clear that the hikers had fled in a hurry, as they had left behind most of their gear. It didn't make sense. These were experienced hikers, well, prepared for the harsh conditions. The group wouldn't have cut their way out of the tent unless something had terrified them beyond reason. As searchers investigated further, they found a trail of footprints leading away from the campsite. But the footprints were odd. Instead of the scattered, hurried marks one might expect from people fleeing in panic, the hikers had walked in an eerie, single-file line, all of them barefoot or wearing only socks, and most were wearing little more than their underwear. This behavior was completely out of character for seasoned hikers and suggested they had been frightened into abandoning the safety of their shelter without taking the time to properly dress for the freezing temperatures. The group had clearly been running from something, but what could have frightened them so much? The mystery was just beginning to unfold. The bodies found, the search continued, and on February 27th, the first bodies were discovered near a large cedar tree. As the search party combed the area, they found a shocking scene. Branches had been broken off the lower part of the tree, suggesting that someone had climbed it. Beneath the tree, the first 2 bodies were discovered. Yuri Doroshenko, one of the hikers, was found lying face down in the snow, wearing only a t-shirt and swimming trunks. He had no shoes, and his body showed signs of severe frostbite. His face was covered in bruises, and there was a strange gray fluid coming from his mouth. This was a sign that he had suffered internal injuries, possibly from a heavy force. Doroshenko's official cause of death was listed as hypothermia. though the injuries and the strange fluid suggested something more sinister had happened. Next to him, Yuri Krivonishenko was found. Like Doroshenko, he was dressed inadequately for the cold, wearing only one sock and a long-sleeved shirt. His body had numerous cuts and bruises, and there were burns on his hands and feet. In his mouth, a piece of his own knuckle was found, possibly bitten off in an attempt to stay conscious or to stop himself from crying out in pain. The condition of these bodies raised more questions than answers. Had they suffered in these extreme conditions, or was something else to blame for their tragic deaths? These initial discoveries were just the beginning. As more bodies were found, it became clear that something far more mysterious was at play than a simple hiking accident. The story of what happened to the hikers would soon take a much darker turn. Theories behind the tragedy. As the investigation continued and more bodies were recovered, theories began to surface about what could have caused such an inexplicable tragedy. The official reports pointed to hypothermia as the cause of death for most of the hikers, but the mysterious injuries and odd circumstances surrounding their deaths left many questions unanswered. Various theories emerged, each more bizarre than the last. One of the early theories was that the local Mansi tribe had attacked the hikers. The Mansi people, who lived near the area, had a reputation for being wary of outsiders. Some believed that the hikers had unknowingly wandered into Mansi territory, provoking an attack. However, this theory began to lose credibility as it was discovered that the hikers had not been harmed by any human weapons. The injuries suffered by the hikers, especially the severe internal trauma, couldn't have been caused by human hands. Another theory that gained traction was that an avalanche had caused the hikers to flee the tent in a panic. The team had set up camp in an area not typically known for avalanches, but the extreme weather conditions might have led them to believe an avalanche was imminent. However, this theory too had its flaws. The hikers' injuries were inconsistent with those usually sustained in an avalanche, and there was no clear evidence of an avalanche having occurred in the area. As the investigation continued, some turned to more supernatural explanations. Some speculated that the hikers were attacked by a yeti, a mysterious creature said to inhabit the remote mountains. Others even suggested UFOs might have been responsible for the strange behavior of the hikers. Bright lights in the sky had been reported around the time of the incident, and photos taken by the hikers before their deaths appeared to show something unusual in the sky. But again, there was no conclusive evidence to support these wild theories. The strangest part of the case was the discovery of radiation on the hikers' clothing. This unusual finding led to yet another theory, that the hikers had been exposed to some sort of military testing, possibly involving radioactive materials. It was later revealed that military tests had been conducted in the area, which raised suspicions that the Soviet government might have been involved in covering up the true cause of the tragedy. Despite the numerous theories and endless speculation, the true cause of the Dyatlov Pass incident remains a mystery. The strange injuries, the radiation, the eerie single-file walk, and the unexplained panic all point to something beyond a simple hiking accident. Whatever happened that night in the Ural Mountains, the Dyatlov Pass incident remains one of the most baffling mysteries in history. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button for more spine-tingling mysteries. What do you think caused the Dyatlov Pass tragedy? Was it nature, humans, or something supernatural? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. And don't miss our next video, The Unsolved Mystery of the Sodder Children Vanished Without a Trace, coming soon!